What's happening, people? I'm what you need, and you can comment, share, and subscribe. I got a very short time. I'm just taking a little break. I just ate some food. I'm in the middle of doing some work. Pull this off. Doing some studio work and stuff. So I'm gonna get back to that. But in the interim, I just decided that I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit quick, real quick. 10 minutes tops. All right. So we want to talk about the theme here. The topic is Gary Russell Jr. There was an interview done by Barbershop Conversation. Thanks for the likes, guys. Don't forget you can subscribe to my channel. Don't forget you can donate to my channel via Western Union MoneyGram. Okay, let's get into it real quick. So first of all, Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. He um, made a number of comments, about one making fights. Two, he was talking about Jessica Jimeno. Shout out to you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the like as well. Yeah. He talked about a number of different things. He was talking about the sport of boxing, how he was a little bit disappointed. Shout out to you, Tommy Temper. Um, and what he said was, in a nutshell, was that he has been fighting once a year because the fights he really wanted to get, he wasn't getting. People were ducking it. Now, I know EJ Boxing Live talked a little bit towards this, but then I listened to the entire thing with Barbershop Conversations a while ago, and I just decided to talk a little bit about it. So, for instance, EJ Boxing Live said that Selby, they said their team tried to face Gary Russell Jr., but he didn't respond. But from what I know, Gary Russell Jr. had actually made that proposal, according to Gary Russell Jr., on television, where he said he wanted to face Lee Selby, and heard nothing from Lee Selby. So that's Gary Russell's side of the story. Lee Selby saying something else. I don't know which to believe, but based on what EJ Boxing Live said about how Lee Selby wasn't really intrigued to face uh, Guillermo Rigondeaux, I would not be surprised he was not intrigued to face Gary Russell Jr. When you look at the hand speed of Gary Russell Jr. and how quick he is, it would have been suicide for Lee Selby to even face him, I just think. Anyway, Gary Russell Jr., in my opinion, was talking about people ducking him. And one of the things he talked about was Gervonta Davis. Now, I'm not saying that Gervonta Davis ducked him, but they did ask Gervonta Davis at the end of his most recent fight, would you like to face Gary Russell Jr.? Seeing he's from Washington, D.C. area, from Baltimore, that would be a nice fight to have the guys from the same area and district face each other. And immediately Gervonta Davis said no. Gary Russell Jr. gave some context behind that, in that his coach Calvin Smith knows that a number of his fighters were beaten by Gary Russell Jr. Beaten by Gary Russell Jr. Beaten by Gary Russell Jr. Like KO'd by Gary Russell Jr. So in that context, I guess, and Gervonta seeing all of that, and probably that's not a favorable fight for Gervonta. I don't know if that's true because Gervonta Davis was a super featherweight, but here's the thing: Floyd Mayweather took the mic and he said that Gary Russell Jr. had to win a title at super featherweight one, and when he moves up, he had, as Gary Russell Jr. says so correctly, Abner Mares, who won a featherweight title, was going to face Gervonta Davis, and guess what? Abner Mares at featherweight is at the same weight class as Gary Russell Jr. So I thought it was interesting. Gary Russell Jr., of course, wants to get a fight. He wants a proper fight. He could get anybody, but he want a proper fight this year. Face JoJo Diaz. He ain't really got much people on his resume. So Gary Russell Jr. really want to fight, obviously. So he called out Leo Santa Cruz very recently there. He talked about Gervonta Tank Davis. Josh Warrington, of course, new on the scene. And of course, I always keep on forgetting the other kid's name. But anyway, Shakur Stevenson's in there as well. And Gary Russell Jr. says he knows Shakur Stevenson, but if he wants to fight him, then it's cool. But here's the thing. He was saying that when Floyd Mayweather said he needed to get a belt, it sounded funny because he was, first of all, a champion much longer than Abner Mares. And two, he was also saying that, look, man, Abner Mares didn't need to get no belt, nothing like that. He just was going to face Tank. So what are you really saying? Why do I need to get a belt? So he was showing up the hypocrisy of the business, which is interesting to me. And I feel like Tank ain't faced nobody. And I was really interested. Like, after Tank complained, they had a big period of time when Tank wasn't doing nothing boxing. That was after the Jorge Linares fight. It looked like Tank complained that he was being pushed too hard. And after that, Floyd ain't pushed him no more. Floyd was matching him tough. And then all of a sudden, he wasn't pushing him no more. I ain't getting all these easy, stupid bums from the month club. I don't know what it adds up with, but anyway, Gary Russell Jr. talked about a number of other things, a number of other factors in the sport of boxing. He found it was really weird. you know. And he was saying that, he was trying to play ball, he was trying to follow the flow of things, he was trying to be the Mr. PC kosher guy, and trying to make the deals behind the scenes, and none of the deals was coming through. He was talking about how Kyle Frampton did not make weight to face him, and he thought it was a deliberate attempt at not facing him. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of things Gary Russell Jr. said that make a lot of sense of what happens behind the scenes. A lot of fighters fights fall through for them. I think of DeMarcus Corley's most recent fight, which fell through for him. I think of Zab Judah's most recent fights, which fell through for him until he first red cat. You know what I'm saying? And this happens in boxing a lot. Unless guys really lock down the fight, unless the weigh-ins are gone, and the night of the fight, the guy steps into the ring, you really don't know if that guy's going to actually come and face you. And it seems as though a number of boxers and a number of fighters, there are fights that they have lined up, and I've seen it in the Mayweather gym as well. A number of fighters, they say, oh man, I got this exciting fight lined up, and then all of a sudden the fight falls through. And we even seen it with Deontay Wilder. Looks like this Tyson Fury fight is in jeopardy because Tyson Fury hurt his eye. I mean, there's all kinds of things that happen behind the scenes in boxing people don't really know about. And Gary Russell Jr. kind of spoke to some of that. I thought it was very interesting. And he says, the bullshit, you can read through the bullshit. And I think that they bullshitting, especially what Mayweather said. It was really a bullshit statement. Because if you think about it, I mean, he called Floyd Money Mayweather, a bitch. But I don't think of Floyd as, Floyd Mayweather, that is, Jr., not the persona Money. I don't think of him as a bitch. I think he's stupid in some respects, and I think he does some really stupid ass shit. But and I don't always agree with Gary Russell Jr. that guys like Floyd and Al Heyman, they don't teach butchers the inside and outs. Just recently, we had Errol Spence talking about Al Heyman was talking about retirement for him and the plans for retirement. So I think Al Heyman actually helps a lot of fighters, and Floyd knows the ins and outs of boxing. And I think he breaks it down to certain fighters, at least the really gifted ones, especially, he breaks that information to. So it's not like he doesn't do that. But what I think is Gary Russell is saying, you should help out all, especially your black fighters, your pigmented fighters, or maybe other fighters as well, because a lot of fighters look up to you. A lot of people, watch at Floyd Mayweather, the smart things he do. Of course, you can still look up to Floyd and see the smart things he did in boxing and sniff out the stupid ones. And it's really only the dumb fighters who try and buy cars and shit like that early in their career, and they're not investing their money properly, right? Tevin Farmer obviously invests his money properly. Floyd did invest his money properly. Gary Russell Jr. all these other guys invest their money properly, right? Andre Ward, etc. So it's not necessary that even Adrian Broner invests. You hear people telling him to invest his money properly, and some of them seize his money and invest his money properly. So anyway, my point is that a lot of these guys who are multimillionaires and whatever, I think that you can't really knock Floyd for that. But I do agree Floyd does a lot of stupid ass shit, and he does behave like a really idiotic person sometimes, an ignorant, idiotic person at times. But for the most part, this Floyd Mayweather, he seems to be very entrepreneurial, very business-like, and not everything we agree with. His recent proposal for an exhibition match with him and Pacquiao, all of us thought it was whack. I think everyone thought it was whack, including myself. And remember, I'm the one that did Floyd Mayweather TBE, so I always said he's probably the best ever to do boxing, right? I've told you guys that. I don't recant from it. I think it's going to be hard to break that, but don't get it twisted. I don't blow things out of proportion. And again, a lot of you guys will realize, I'm not a Flomo, right? There are a lot of people who say I am a Flomo, but it's usually out of anger and stupidity, or they're Pacquiao fans or whatever, right? And, I put some people on blast. I have a problem putting them on blast. I say the boxing librarian is a clown. I said that and some other people are clowns. And I have a problem saying that, right? And the only reason I'm saying that is because these guys tried to circulate certain things about me, and now the truth's coming out. And the people are realizing my channel and who I am, I'm authentic to the core. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying. Anyway, we got one more minute left. So we want to talk about Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. Let me get to it. Sean Porter versus Errol Spence. I don't think Errol Spence is knocking out Sean Porter. No way, no how. It ain't going to happen. But what I can tell you is I truly believe Errol Spence will beat Sean Porter. Now, it's up to Sean Porter to prove me wrong. I know Sean Porter got a chip on his shoulder for being always counted out of fights. So maybe he proved me right, and he beat Errol Spence. Maybe by a close margin again. Who knows? But what I would say is that, as far as I'm concerned, I think I favor Errol Spence to win this fight. However he wins it is not important to me, but that he gets the W. Whether it's by split decision, majority decision, or just unanimous decision, by wide margin, I don't care. But I think he's going to get the W. And the important thing is to get the W. Now, he's talking about getting a knockout. you know, and he'll be disappointed if he don't get the knockout. Well, you're gonna be disappointed then. Don't put your sight so hard. Just get the fucking love. You can always go and knock out somebody some other day. But I'm telling you this: at the elite level, you ain't knocking out nobody like that. Them guys got enough defense, and Shawn Porter got enough defense that you can't knock him out like that. It's just not gonna happen. And you better be on your A game because Shawn Porter is explosive. He quick. He's not as wild as you think, and there's a method to the madness. And Coach Kenny Porter, man. You got love for Coach Kenny Porter, don't you? So I mean, but you're supposed to talk like that. You're supposed to talk about getting a KO. Show's supposed to talk about getting a KO. Y'all supposed to be talking about like that's boxing. The ultimate way to win a fight is to get a KO. So I understand. I respect Errol Spence. I think he's a hell of a fighter, and that's why I say this man's going to win the fight. I'm pretty sure about that. He gonna win the fight. He got great boxing IQ. He got great boxing skills. He's a beast on the inside. He can fight on the outside. He can fight at mid range. Shawn Porter could do the same thing, but I just don't think to the level of Errol Spence. And even if Shawn Porter was to outthrow Errol Spence, even if Shawn Porter was to seem to be not containable, I bet you down the stretch Errol Spence separate himself from him. Right? If Keith Thurman could do it, Errol Spence can do it. Better. So I think that's how Errol Spence will win this fight. Honestly, that's my prediction. I'll look at the weigh-ins just to see that Errol said he already on weight. Shawn Porter's the bigger dude, obviously. He will have the more problems making weight. But at the end of the day, when Shawn Porter makes weight, because Shawn Porter's never missed weight, right? When Shawn Porter makes weight, Errol makes weight. They're gonna go into the ring, and you're gonna expect a hell of a fight. Now, I'm telling you guys, man, this was one for the books. It's gonna be great. But in terms of winning, I got Errol. It's not gonna be an easy fight, but it's gonna be an easy fight at the same time. Let's put it that way. It's gonna be competitive, but it ain't gonna be competitive at the same time. You know what I mean? It's gonna be lots and lots and lots and lots of action. It's gonna be an exciting fight. But at the end of the day, the one who's gonna have his hands raised is Errol Spence, in my opinion. Shawn Porter could spoil the party, no doubt about it. If Errol somehow underestimated Shawn Porter, which I don't think he's going to do. I think he's going to make the necessary adjustments to Shawn. I think Shawn's going to change up the game a number of times. I think Shawn has seen a lot, so he's going to push Errol. I think Errol's going to be pushed, and I ain't going to enjoy it. But to think that Errol's going to catch Shawn with something coming in and Shawn going to just go down, nah, Shawn don't go down like that. And I've never seen Shawn go down with body shots. I've never seen Shawn go down with headshots. And Shawn can even walk through your punches and walk to you. Errol don't hit like Keith Thurman. He don't hit like Danny Garcia. And as much as he's a great technician, he got great power. Don't get me wrong. He hit like a truck too, but not like Keith Thurman, and he don't hit like Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia probably hit the hardest in all the welterweights, I think. Terrence Crawford's been matched nice with the people who he's been matched with. So a lot of people talk about Terrence Crawford. He looked like he dominated everybody. He don't really dominate everybody because he never faced top 10 competition. You can't look at okay. I take a little kid from kindergarten and I beat his ass up, right? It's not the same as if I beat a big grown ass man. Far less beat amateur boxer, far less beat a professional boxer. It's different levels, right? Right. So Shawn Porter been facing a certain level of opposition, championship level, every step of the way, championship level. That's what he been fighting. He lost some, he won some, right? Errol Spence ain't been facing that. He faced it once, and that was that. Okay, Lamar Peterson wasn't a real champion, was a paper champion, right? That's it. He ain't really got all that championship experience. That don't mean nothing. He didn't have championship experience when he beat Kell Brook, right? So it don't mean nothing. However, Terrence Crawford hasn't even been facing the level of competition Errol Spence has been facing, right? Errol Spence faced Mikey Garcia. He faced Kell Brook. Those are two top tier guys, right? Who has Terrence Crawford faced at welterweight that's top tier? Nobody. But you can't be mad at it because he's acclimatizing to welterweight. He's doing the best he can. He's getting associated with different styles. That's how I look at it. But a lot of people put Terrence Crawford ahead of Errol Spence, which you should not do, whether it's pound for pound or whatever. You can't do that. All right? I know Terrence Crawford has faced Gamboa. I know he's faced Ricky Burns. I know he's faced Ray Beltran. Those are top tier guys who were world champions. Then he has faced guys like Felix Diaz and the other dude, and then Victor Postol. Those guys are good guys. But what I'm saying is, when you look at like Errol Spence, and you look at Keith Thurman and Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, they faced a lot more top tier competition who are either former, world champions, or they were top tier guys. Period. You know what I'm saying? So, Mike Alvarado, TB, shout out to you, man. Sean Porter and Errol Spence. Hold up a second. I gotta entertain you guys. It's already 15 minutes in. Wow. Sean Porter and Errol Spence are okay, but they're not near the level of Mike Alvarado yet. All right, Mike Alvarado, TB, shout out to you, bro. Jessica Gemino says, while Spence is favored to win, if Porter pull it off somehow, 2019 will continue to be a year of upsets and surprises in boxing. Absolutely, absolutely, and conservatively correct. And again, it's very possible because Sean Porter always is in these close fights, and if the split decision go his way, and he was able to rock Errol Spence or show some kind of weakness in Errol Spence's chink of armor, then Sean Porter will get the win. And if he gets the win, let me tell you, this fight could be by inches as well as it could be by miles. It could be a complete blowout, or it could be so competitive that it ends up being either a draw or a split decision win one way or the other. It could be that kind of fight because the potential of these two fighters are that kind of way. They got that history, right? We look at Kell Brook versus Sean Porter. It was blown out by miles. People still thought it was closer than it really was, but it was competitive all the way to the end because Sean Porter kept coming. You know what I'm saying? It was competitive. You can have a competitive fight that's one-sided. I know that sounds like a paradox, but what I mean by that is if you're looking at boxing, in terms of boxing, this guy's outboxing that guy. But the other guys keep on bringing the pressure nonstop. Like, take for instance, the competitive, non-competitive fight between Marcus Maidana and Floyd Mayweather. That's the fight in which Floyd was hit the most in his entire career. Marcus Maidana landed 235 shots on Floyd. Landed. I ain't talking about thrown. He threw near goddamn 900 punches, right? When you think about that Marcus Maidana was able to do something like that to Floyd, you would say, well, Marcus Maidana won that fight. But his connect percentage was like miserable. It was like, 18, 19%. Floyd Mayweather's connect percentage was something like 50 something percent, right? And Floyd outlanded Marcus Maidana. Believe it or not, he outlanded him. So, and then round by round, you can see what the stats look like. Even so, it don't mean nothing with landing. You had to look at who was controlling the fight. And that fight was a to and fro, but when you look at it in terms of boxing, I'm not talking about with the roughhouse tactics and Marcus Maidana tackling him and kneeing him, biting him, and all the breaking action, all that shit. When you talk about boxing, strictly boxing, Floyd had taken over the fight somewhere around round 5. He had taken over that fight, right? And he never looked back, right? Marcus Maidana was trying to buy time. He used every roughhouse tactic you could think about, and it's boxing. All of that's fair game, And if the referee ain't doing shit, then you got to roughhouse him back. So when Marcus Maidana hit Floyd with a low blow, Floyd hit him with a low blow and said, "Shut up, bitch." It started going to and fro, because the referee wasn't stopping it. He wasn't warning anybody nothing. It just let it rip. It was a good fight. It was one of the most entertaining Floyd Mayweather Jr. fights because I like how Marcus Maidana did everything he possibly could to beat Floyd. To me, that was an interesting fight in which Floyd showed that he just couldn't be beat. He just couldn't be beat. I think that was one of his most recent tough fights. His toughest fight of his career, in my opinion, going off course for a little bit, was Floyd Mayweather versus Miguel Cotto. I think that's his toughest fight ever. Of course, he would argue it was Emmanuel Burton, which he did damage his 2 hands, get his face busted up, got his 2 shoulders damaged. Emmanuel Burton was the fight for that, but I still think that, he had a couple tough fights where he hurt his hand and he had to put his hand down. That was against Carlos, what was it? Carlos something. I can't remember what his surname was. Yeah, who was a former world champion at that. And then Jesus Chavez was a tough fight. Carlos Baldomir was a tough fight. Who else? I always thought that Miguel Cotto was his toughest competition because Cotto hit like a fucking freight train. And on top of that, Cotto was damaging Floyd. And Floyd was still fighting him. I mean, Floyd almost took out Cotto in the final round, even though I don't think he would have taken out Cotto. There's certain fighters you just can't knock out. Like Marcus Maidana was never going to get a knockout. As much as people thought in the second fight Floyd was going to knock out, he hurt Marcus Maidana, he didn't get to finish him. Marcus Maidana was never going to get knocked out. There's certain people you just can't knock out. You just got to live with that. I don't care if you're a power puncher, whatever. There's certain guys you're going to meet in that ring who made up their mind to win, and they will walk through your punches to win. It's just what it is. It's boxing. And Floyd learned that very quickly. So he was able to deal with those guys. So if Errol can't stop Sean Porter, which is very, very likely that he won't, he gonna have to resort to what Floyd used to do, which is you got to contain this guy, control this guy, and if you can't contain him and control him, you need to at least box him, which means you got to turn and do what you do, and look for opportunities where you could get the edge and the advantage. You're not looking to outpoint. You're still looking to try and get this guy hurt. You're still gonna go over with the body work. You're still gonna do what you do. You're not gonna be deterred. You just keep on doing it. But at the same time, you also know you got to look out for yourself, which means you got to have that defense on point. And once Errol got his defense on point, I think he's going to win the fight. Honestly speaking, I think he's going to win the fight because he got that pivot work. Like I said before, he got good pivot work. I think he's got the fundamentals really good. I think he moves his head, but he need to move his head a little bit more, Errol. You need to move that damn head a little bit more. That's how Mikey Garcia got your ass. I hope you do that. And I think also, I know he can fight rough and rugged. I know Errol can, he can do it all. But he got to understand, Sean's bigger than him. Think about it. The dude is bigger than you. I know you think he's smaller than you, but he's bigger than you. He might look like, don't let looks deceive you. He's bigger than you. All right? He's a big dude. So understand that. So fight him like that. Think about it like that. Because I think Errol could, he's going to try. He's going to go for the stoppage. But that's not the most important thing. But, I mean, if you want to stop him, go for it. Hopefully you get through. But if he don't get stopped, just remember what I said. Box his ass. Get the W. Get the dub. And that's the most important thing. Because Porter got a chip on his shoulder. And quite frankly, his mind is made up to get the W. He want them straps. And he want to take that strap from you. And he's going to go get it. He going to go get it. If I say go get him, he going to go get it. And they got a plan for you. So, they got A, B, C, D, E, F, G for you. So you need to be you need to do what you need to do to make sure you get that win. All right. So because Porter could pull it off. Nobody's running it by him. I just don't think it's likely. I think Errol stops him late. TKO, not a KO. He ain't stopping shit. KP from KC. Remember Floyd adjusted right hand around Cotto's guard. He did an uppercut, yeah. Yeah, he did the right hand. He feinted him with the jab, and then he threw the right hand. Yeah, but the real thing that really worked was the uppercut on Cotto. Well, Cotto wasn't going nowhere. I mean, Floyd convinced the judges that it looked like he was going to knock his ass out, but Cotto wasn't going nowhere. Cotto tough. KP from KC. If Sean had a straight right hand, he would have a shot, but he throws wide. No, he got an untelegraphed lead right hand. He throws. He just throws the right hand. Boom. Untelegraphed. There's a lot of things Sean do. I don't want to talk about it though. You'll see it in the fight. Yeah, so Sean does some awkward shit too. That'll throw you off. So Errol Spence talking about him being a street fighter. I don't believe that, but Errol's talking the talk. I hope he can walk the talk. That's all I'm saying. I know Errol gonna train his ass off, but I don't think Sean Porter is no street fighter. I don't think of him as that. He is a little bit unorthodox, but he do jab pretty good. He's sometimes excessive in his footwork, but most of the time he's explosive and he comes in when you least expect it. And he coming off the jab every single time. All right, so he is textbook in many respects. And Kenny Porter, oh come on, man, Sean, no, you had Kenny Porter as your trainer, man. There's a reason Sean Porter's a tough fight for everybody. But hey, man, more power to Errol Spence. Let him go for the KO. Let him do what he do. I don't think he's taking anything for granted. I know he's going to try and work that body consistently. And see if he can break down Sean Porter, man. It should be a good fight. I'm watching to see if Errol Spence could take out Sean Porter. That'll be great, man, for him. But I just don't see it. Understand? That's what I'm saying, people. Anyway, this was my break. There's some other things I want to talk about. Some people were talking about and arguing. We were arguing just recently on a hangout there about. I'm gonna talk about it. About Manny Pacquiao. Me saying that, well, not me saying, but there's a saying out there that Pacquiao is probably the greatest of this era, and he's greater than Floyd Mayweather. First of all, Floyd Mayweather's era is over. Pacquiao's still going. And then the other thing they wanted to talk about. So I started showing people why I thought that Pacquiao is greater than Floyd. I said this, I say it again. I believe that Pacquiao is greater than Floyd now. Because Pacquiao's not even, Floyd's not even in this era anymore, right? Floyd had limitations. He got old. Plus, he wasn't going to face fighters from another era. And Pacquiao's still going, right? Now, a lot of people, say, well, Pacquiao lost and, he only fought this and that fighter and whatever. Let me say this. Let me say this so people understand. Because people always quote the weight classes and all this shit. Look. This is my point. Floyd has not fought. Okay, he fought Conor McGregor at the age of 40, I believe it is. It was a legitimate fight, so we have to talk about it. I don't really want to talk about it, but we talk about it. Pacquiao fought Keith Thurman at the age of 40. Which one is a better fight for a world championship? Obviously, Pacquiao versus Keith Thurman. All right. Floyd Mayweather at the age of 38, or was it 38? Yep, 38, for Andre Berto. Pacquiao at the age of 38 for Jeff Horn. Which one's more competitive fight? Y'all will say, well, Andre Berto. Well, he was two-time world divisional champion, blah, blah. But I mean, Jeff Horn was undefeated. Pacquiao wasn't supposed to lose to Jeff Horn, but he did. What I say by that is, Jeff Horn beat him, but what I mean is, Pacquiao underestimated Jeff Horn, put himself in a position where he could lose. But at the end of the day, Jeff Horn went on to get knocked out by Terrence Crawford, move up to middleweight, fought the guy from Australia who was considered a great fighter, knocked his ass out, and then got knocked out just recently. Andre Berto went on to get knocked out by Sean Porter, avenged his loss to Victor Ortiz, and is recently on a win. So maybe you would say Porter's better than Jeff Horn or whatever. But at the end of the day, Jeff Horn won a world championship recently. Porter did not. Okay? They're about the same. But my point anyway is, Pacquiao goes on to face, on top of that, Adrian Broner, Lucas Matisse. That's all I'm saying. You look at Pacquiao's story. Pacquiao, in terms of greatness, his story is complete. When you talk about boxing story, a career story, it's the entire sport of boxing. He encompasses everything that has to do with the sport of boxing, from winning to losing, to being the underdog, to being the favorite, to being the guy that surprised everybody, to the drama of boxing, to the excitement of boxing, to the spectacular stuff of boxing, to the unexpected of boxing. Pacquiao being all those elements of boxing. So did Muhammad Ali, but the point is, we didn't expect Pacquiao to win some fights. He won the fights. He blew our minds, right? So I find that makes Pacquiao greater than Floyd, and that he encompasses both the great things about boxing and also encompasses the not so great things about boxing. And to me, that is what that's what makes Pacquiao greater than Floyd Mayweather, because greatness, in my opinion, has to do with the storyline as well. It has to do with the storyline. It has to do with what you represent, who you are as a person. All those things. And in my opinion, my humble opinion, I think Pacquiao encompasses the entire sport of boxing. When you talk about the sport of boxing, it's ups, it's downs, it's flows, it's bigs, it's bad, promotion, all that shit. Pacquiao encompasses that and some, because he also has other endeavors outside of boxing, right? And then when you look at the guy's dimensions, when you look at where the guy came from, he didn't come from a boxing pedigree, he didn't come from a family of boxers. You know, his older brother started boxing, but he didn't really come from a family of boxers, and he became something. He came from nothing to something. I'm not saying Floyd didn't come from nothing to something, but he did have a family pedigree line. He did come from extreme poverty too. But then you look at Pacquiao, he didn't even go to the amateurs. You know, he was doing the boxing to get money for his family. I'm not saying Floyd didn't do the same. He was doing it to get his mother something as well. But the difference is Pacquiao ain't got no formal training. He didn't do no amateurs and all that shit. He did some amateurs, but not like legitimate a lot of amateur stuff. He just jumped into the pros. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, Pacquiao is a dude who you got to remember. This guy is short. All right? He's short. He got short reach. Right? In some fights, okay, he had the weight advantage, but he was going up into a new weight class every single time, facing a new world champion. Sometimes he outweighed the new world champion, whatever. But at the end of the day, Pacquiao ain't supposed to do what he doing. You 5'5.5" with a 67-inch reach, but you facing guys 5'7", 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", with very, very long reaches. They supposed to win a fight. But you win in a fight? In an emphatic fashion? Come on, man. And so Pacquiao he was defiant of the reality around him. And it been his story straight through. He be the guy that defy the odds. I make you say, well, what is possible? You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about Pacquiao. Floyd still had the long arms, the 72-inch reach. He didn't always have the reach advantage over his opponent. He didn't always have the height advantage over his opponent. But, you know, he had that 72, that abnormal long reach for a guy 5'8". You know, and not to say that he always could use it, because sometimes he had to infight or whatever. Pacquiao having limitations as well. You know, Pacquiao could only fight at mid-range, and yet he was doing so great. Like Lomachenko, you know what I mean? And whereas Lomachenko talk about a limit at 135, that's as high as he can go. Pacquiao starting off at flyweight, blew past that, and went all the way up to super welterweight. Well, not really super welterweight, more catchweight, super welterweight. But my point is, you know, and I'm just saying that you look at all those things, you put all those factors together, you know, plus, you know, all the, you know, guys that he fought, beat, there were names to the, you know, the lineal championships and the world championships, and you know, in the different weight classes that he won. I mean, he overachieved. I keep on telling people that man overachieved. You know, for such a short little guy, he overachieved. You know, even when you go back to Henry Armstrong's days, let's be real here. Henry Armstrong didn't face no guy like a Keith Thurman. You know where Henry Armstrong won the welterweight championship from? Barney Russ. You know what Barney Russ really was? He was really a lightweight world champion and a junior welterweight world champion who managed to win the welterweight crown from another guy. You know how much Barney Russ weighed on fight day? 142. You know how much Henry Armstrong weighed? I think it was 133 or 135. I can't remember. But he didn't fight a bona fide, full-fledged welterweight like Keith Thurman, who coming in 159, 160, 162. You know, and Pacquiao coming in 149, 150 maybe. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. So when you think about it in that kind of context, Pacquiao not even asking for a catch weight against Keith Thurman. I mean, it's something, man. It's something, and you have to really. I had to really think about it and respect it, because I'm pretty sure Pacquiao didn't come in there heavier than Keith Thurman. I'm sure Keith Thurman came in the heavier guy this time. Don't forget to smash that like button. Anyway, I doubled the time. I tripled the time that I was supposed to be out talking with you guys. But I'm just saying, when you talk about greatness and the great, not just the greatest of the era, but I think the greatest of all time, you got to factor in Pacquiao for all the things that he do on top of boxing, and the fact that he still makes time for boxing, and just the guy. As a boxer, how popular he's becoming, how many people like him. I mean, everybody like him, including Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather's a fan of Manny Pacquiao. Don't get it twisted. But Leonard Ellamy obviously is a fan of Manny Pacquiao. Everybody loves Manny Pacquiao. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying that Floyd is a better boxer. I think he's light years ahead of Pacquiao in terms of boxing. But in terms of every other thing you can think about in terms of greatness in boxing, I think Pacquiao supersedes him for now. I'm not saying that Floyd is not he's not great. I love what he's doing in terms of, he's still with boxing. He's trying to mold boxers and shape people and try to always give them good advice. Floyd's a very generous guy. We already know that. He does a lot of things in the background. Unfortunately, he likes to foster controversy or say controversial things. He's a little bit outspoken. But at the end of the day, I think that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is always he always means well for people. He's always trying to help and benefit different people. And I'm not really a big fan of him being, aligning himself with Donald Trump and that kind of thing. But it is what it is. And I'm not going to get into the politics of the thing. But again, Floyd Mayweather Jr. He does a lot of good things, and I'm not going to knock him for that. But at the end of the day, I think that Manny Pacquiao's still greater than him. And he shouldn't jump at the bit about that because he's about TBE. He's the best ever. I still think he's the best ever to do it. I just don't think that when it comes to Manny Pacquiao and greatness, I don't think he's greater than Manny Pacquiao. I just don't think so. And that's just my personal opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I think a lot of people share my opinion, but in a different kind of way. But I'm trying to hit it objectively. I think you give Pacquiao the greatest of this era, and I think you may even have to give him, by the time his career is over, we got to see how his career pans out, what he's going to do next. Because based on what he does next would tell me, if he's really the GOAT or not. I mean, it depends on what he does. He could really solidify this thing. He could really make it a statement, but he has to think about the cost of making such a statement. He has to think about the mission that he's about. If he's about helping the people in the Philippines, becoming the president of the Philippines and so on, he need to really give it good thought about what he's going to do next. And if whatever he's going to do next, he need to make sure he's fully prepared for whatever it is he's going to do next, boxing wise, that is, because it's a very dangerous sport, and he is up in age. So I just hope that he makes the sensible career decision, whatever it may be. And kudos to him on whatever he chooses to do. But as of now, he has done some really remarkable things, and I gotta say, he is, of course, hands down the greatest of the era. His era is not even up. He's in a totally different era right now, and we'll see what happens with that. But with respect to him being greater than Floyd Mayweather, I absolutely, incontrovertibly believe that. I think Floyd Mayweather is the best, not just in the sport of boxing, but in best, not just in the sport of boxing in terms of skill, but in terms of everything. Resume, skill. Nobody beats him in the ring. IQ, understanding those things. I don't even talk about the money values. Money values separate him as well, but I don't talk about the money aspect. I think he is the best ever, period. See what you guys say in the chat section before I can't believe it took so long. All right, you guys don't really say nothing else. So shout out to each and every one of you guys, man. It was nice talking to you guys. I see some more people coming into this chat. Don't forget to smash the like button. I gotta get out of here though and go back to what I was doing. But this is what I really wanted to talk about. Errol Spence, Sean Porter, as well as Gary Russell Jr. What the statements he made. I think that Gary Russell Jr., if you guys haven't seen Barbershop Conversation, the interview with Gary Russell, you should really pay attention to that one. Not really a Barbershop Conversations fan, but on this occasion, I think I'm definitely going to give you guys a shout out for the Gary. Again, Gary Russell Jr. Not everything I agree with that he said, but for a good portion of it, I thought it was sensible to get it out there. He obviously wants to face somebody with a name as his next opponent. All right, guys, man. So that's it. If you smash the like button, great. Don't forget you can donate to this channel. I'm looking forward to seeing some donations from you guys again. That would be great. And you guys have a good one, man. Peace.